Hi, I'm Dr. Bradley Williard. Today I want to talk to you about how we build a relationship with the voice. What does that look like for you in your life? What does that look like for you in how you move about the world? This little thing in here, these two little vocal folds, they carry so much of who we are. They carry our emotions, they carry the inner parts of our heart, they carry the outer expression. So what does that look like for you, and how do you create relationship with all of those parts? For the past decade, I have dove into multiple somatic practices, looking at the breath and body and its connection to the voice. I've also conducted my own scientific research looking at the deeper meanings of the breath and how that translates into the voice. And I have worked with amazing healers from all over the world. I've traveled to Peru, working in the shamanic tradition. I've traveled to India, working with my beautiful elders from that region, and working with Native American elders that continue to guide me on my path and in my life. So I'm excited to share a little bit of what that has been like for me, and also share how that translates into my method. So let's talk about the voice. How do we build a relationship with the voice? So I love to use a whiteboard or paper on the wall, and I will work this way with clients. I feel like that it's very effective. So, all right, relationship with the voice. The voice. What does that mean, relationship with the voice? I have found that there are two aspects to the voice. There is the inner voice and there is the outer voice. So we're going to diagram that out as well. Your relationship with the voice, inner voice. And outer voice. So what does that mean, inner voice and outer voice? For me, in the way I look at the voice and going back to the research, inner voice has to do more with what is happening inside, that voice that's not coming out of the mouth. So I like to think of that as the voice that is more in relationship with our impressions. Those impressions that are inside of us that we often don't speak about. Sometimes it's a little nudge that we hear that we don't move on. So that inner voice is really that connection to the heart, but it's also connection to the inner critic. So let's go ahead and diagram that out. So can we say the voice of the heart? And then the inner critic. Now let's go over and talk about the outer voice. So, the outer voice has to do more with expression, what's going outside of the mouth. What is the quality of that expression? And as we go into the quality, we're sort of brought back into that heart space. Is the quality that I'm coming from a place of fear or a place of anger in that expression? Or is it coming from a place of openness and being emotionally present? So let's call that one also the voice of the heart. And maybe we also have the outer critic. So I want to stay focused on these two aspects, the impressions and the expression of the voice. I often find that this works very much in a way of a seesaw. So that's going to be the image that I work with. All right, so let's say we have a seesaw, and let's put someone sitting here. Excuse my little man or female, whichever you prefer. All right. And then we have this person here. And then they're seesawing as well. Great, great. All right. So in the middle of that seesaw, we have, if you notice when you're on a seesaw, there's this bridge that tends to connect to the ground. So we have this ground here. And then we have the thing that's connecting it to the ground. So the seesaw really is about balance. It's about finding this way, because when they're both on the ground, both people's feet are on the ground. As you see in this, the outer voice is very heavy, it's very much in the ground, and we have the inner voice very much in the air. But I'm more interested in what is in the middle. And in the middle, what I have found from the research and its connection is what is correlated into the deeper parts of us is the heart. So the heart is really in the middle of the seesaw of our voice. So really working with that inner voice and the outer voice, there is this flow that happens back and forth. But when the heart gets blocked, whether it's through trauma or whether it's through being bullied throughout childhood, you'll find, especially with undergraduates, I've looked at a lot of study participants that were from the age of 18 to 24. And those early years really affect the ability of this heart to be open and for the students to be emotionally present. I've worked with a lot of entrepreneurs that also have had this heart area blocked from their trauma. So we all carry trauma, we all carry anxiety, and the more we tend to look at that and start to open up and clean out those spaces, the more we start to find that there is not this out of balance in the voice, that we can find that there is more balance and both people's feet can be on the ground. Because that's really what we want. We don't want someone hanging in the air and being ungrounded. Or have you ever gone and seesawed with the bully? You never want to seesaw with the bully because they're going to be the ones that either keep you hanging in the air or they drop you really quick. Well, that's what we're doing with ourselves all the time. This whole inner outer voice, inner outer breath, inner outer world, you can call it whatever you want, but it's still these juxtapositions of places. And the one thing that is connecting us is the heart. Now we do have the critic that is connecting us, but do we really want to give the critic our focus? Because that's going to put us back in relationship with fear, anger, and rage. And we really want to move the whole system, because if you move it to the heart, you're going to get a happy nervous system. And that is the goal with the breath and the voice. For a voice to really function in the world, we have to feel safe. Safety is the number one requirement for the voice to be able to translate into an open emotional body and heart. So we'll do that actually. Let's draw one big heart around that. So in order for that to truly work, that works with safety. This is a long journey to get to this. I have been at this for a little over a decade, and I'm just now getting into the place where this inner and outer voice really feels like one voice. It is a long journey to get to this wholeness. And that's what it really is. It's the wholeness of the heart, to where this can be one voice rather than two separate voices. But let's talk about some of the things that this inner heart has that can offer us to get to this safety point. And I want to diagram those out as well. Let's just we'll put them out to the side. And that's really moving from here to here. And we'll just do this, moving through here. One of the parts that we need is compassion. Compassion. Self-compassion, compassion for other people. So self-compassion would be the inner voice. Compassion for other people would be the outer expression of that voice. Again, looking back at impressions and expressions. The other thing we need is gentleness. Gentleness. Have we ever thought about the voice as a way of gentleness? So we can have the gentle voice that speaks very kindly to us, which is close to compassion, but we also have the quality of gentleness and for that outer expression, that it's not hard or brittle or very pointing at someone, talking down to them. It's more of an opening of love, an opening of all of these warmer tones that can be part of the voice, that it doesn't have to be so strident and full of anger and rage that I've seen in a lot of clients that are really, often they don't even know that that's there, that it's hiding. This is the thing about rage. Rage hides in the deepest part of our being, in the cells. And we are so disconnected from that rage. And so often above that rage lays sadness. So there's all these different layers that are connected to the parts of this critic that is keeping this heart from open. But I will talk about that more in other videos. So there's one more part that I want to talk about as far as this inner heart, and that is wisdom. What is wisdom? I've worked in a lot of different wisdom traditions, but what really is that wisdom when it comes to the breath and the body and the voice? For me, wisdom is how knowledge and information moves through the heart. How knowledge and information moves through the heart. And compassion and gentleness is what flows into that wisdom, so that that outer expression can be something much more deeper connected to who you are, rather than using the mind to describe things or to control things. Control is not about, control has nothing to do with the voice. We can use control to try to make the voice that we want it to be, but actually when we let go of control, the voice finds its way to freedom. So I don't want to go too much into that, because I could do a whole other session on that one. But I want to go back and look at this. So we have relationship with the voice, inner voice, outer voice, impressions, expressions. If I could give you a few takeaways, it has allowed this area of you to become bigger and bigger and bigger, to where you can eventually have all of your heart online to hold the whole voice. Use the compassion, use the wisdom, use the gentleness. It will bring you into a place of safety so that this can begin to grow. So that's the teaching for the day. I hope you all resonated with it, enjoyed it, and come look at my Facebook page at Dr. Bradley Williard, or my Instagram at Dr. Bradley Williard, or follow my YouTube channel at Dr. Bradley Williard. Have a wonderful day. Ciao.